Welcome to Kit Katastrophe. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at Transformers Studio Series Voyager Class Devastator, Brawl. Studio Series Brawl. This figure came out in 2018 as part of Wave 2 of the Voyager assortment and represents his appearance in the 2007 film Transformers. We naturally begin our look at Brawl in his alternate mode, a modified M1A1 Abrams tank. And, much like every other Studio Series figure, the alternate mode is damn near perfect. The length of this pancaked tank mode is imposing, and I love all the angular armor plating. The color scheme is a little drab, but probably realistic. I don't know how real-life camo works. Brawl features a long ton of sculpted detail, that's 2240 pounds to all those people who won't Google it. The top turret and the two missile launchers at the back are fully posable to your heart's content. However, the main turret doesn't move, sadly, and the turret gets pretty ugly in the back, looking very floaty and suffering from visible hands syndrome. Brawl comes with two accessories he can use in this mode, well, three depending on how you count them. He comes with a claw weapon and a big 4-barreled cannon thing that can both be stuck into the 5mm ports on the top of the turret. They look stupid there, but weapon storage is always welcome. The minigun attached to the claw weapon can be removed and stuck on the turret by itself if you so desire. Transformation is pretty complex and seems to take inspiration from both his figures from the 2007 movie toy line. I only have the leader and I've only seen videos of the deluxe, so don't quote me on that. This transformation scheme is the most daunting out of all my recent Studio Series acquisitions, yet after a few times transforming him both ways, the process becomes a little more obvious. Pretty much everything has a specific place to go in each mode, although it may not be obvious the first time through. And while I feel his scheme is not as polished as some of the other Studio Series fare, it's satisfying in its own way. Brawl's robot mode is messy, to say the least. Just something about him seems off every time I take a good look at him, yet he actually follows the on-screen model pretty well. Still though, Brawl in my opinion has a really cool design, but this figure doesn't exactly live up to it. First of all, the head just feels a touch too big, even if it is beautifully sculpted and painted. And aside here, the treads on either side of his head are my favorite thing about his entire design and are captured wonderfully here. The titty rakes also stick out a bit too far, with no way to compress them or anything. His arms are a complete mess. The shoulders are ugly and look as if the real design's shoulders were run through an Escher filter. The forearms are a joke. They're just sculpted into the bottom of the turret and have tons of kibble hanging off of them. Speaking of kibble, there's the turret itself. It doesn't move. It doesn't fold away like on the 07 leader, it just dangles off his ass like a dingleberry. And during the transformation, there's a step where you twist the entire turret section 180 degrees. Someone tell me why it's immobile in tank mode? Seriously! The one point where a part is supposed to move, and you block it off, except during transformation.
I think you've been cheated!
Brawl's posability is decent, but lacking. He has a ball-jointed head with a nice degree of range. Sure, it won't allow him any crazy up and down movement, but it has a noticeable tilt. The legs have two separate joints in the hips, one for outward motion and one for forward and backward motion. The thighs swivel, and the knees bend and lock in place ever so slightly in a straight position. The feet are basically immobile. The arms are where things get sticky. His shoulders are actually completely unimpeded. He can T-pose perfectly and can make the full 360 as long as they don't hit the rocket pods, but their unnatural design just make them feel very awkward and stilted nonetheless. Finally, he has a bicep swivel and two sets of elbow joints, one in each direction. Strangely enough, he features the requisite post-2014 butthole compatible with a Bandai Tamashii Nations Act 5 stage, but it's completely blocked by the turret. Luckily, there's another one on the backpack, but that just makes me wonder why they included the first one to begin with. To increase Brawl's screen accuracy, the two accessories he comes with can be placed in a 5mm port on each arm. They look much more at home here than they did in tank mode. His last accessory is his signature Studio Series stage, titled Mission City Battle, which, shocker, depicts the Battle of Mission City at the end of the first live-action movie. It features the exact same background as Jazz and Ratchet's backgrounds, except it's moved to one side for some reason. Out of my entire Studio Series collection, my response to Brawl has been the most lukewarm, besides Crowbar, of course. I was really excited to get this guy and try him out, and was really happy with some of the engineering he features, but was overall let down by some obvious design oversights and some otherwise strange choices. I'm glad I have him, and he looks really good with the other Decepticons I'll soon cover, but on his own, he's something of a mixed bag at best, and at worst, he's a version of the 2007 leader figure run through an ass filter. Don't make this your first purchase, but do consider picking him up eventually. This has been Katastrophe. It's time for me to transform and roll out.